same way you described that part of the property is up under water.
The flood zone area?
Yeah, how would you?
So, according to the flood maps, the area to the north is flood. The area to the south is buildable with a higher elevation. The property goes all the way through. There is an alleyway between the two properties, an easement. So,
What kind of effect it might have on property
well,
adjoining to that owners for its flooding if you build on?
no, we're not building on the flood zone property.
Right. Okay.
There is provisions that we can't build on that flood zone property. You can put a mobile home on that property if you wanted to with the current designation, I believe. Or RSF, no? Okay. An elevated home could be put on the property, out of the floodplain. It increases the cost to build on the property, and it's easier to condense it to the buildable area.
All right, any other board members have a question?
You have a closed session.
Go.
Yeah, we got one.
I'm sorry.
Come to the mic.
Chris Woolsey.
All right, Mr. Woolsey, let me, swear you in. Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, yeah, 3 minutes, sir.
So just as the gentleman stated, if their intent is to build a single-family home on this property and not impact the neighbors and continue the look of the neighborhood, we have no objection at all. But as soon as this land usage gets changed, he gets a free ticket to do what he wants. And we don't, if his intent is to improve the neighborhood and build a single-family home, we're all for it. You know, and as long as that low-lying area doesn't get touched, you know, it stays the way it is because it's in a flood zone. There won't be any impact, and if he develops that half of the land, you know, we're happy, we're fine. And as long as if that's what he's going to do, he just said it would be a single-family home, and then later he said, well, maybe a duplex and maybe this. So if you give him that land usage change, he's going to do that, and there's going to be problems there. And I don't think that would be fair to all the neighbors. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Dana Berman.
All right, do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
So, Rough County, we've built over 30 single-family homes and duplexes throughout the city of Live Oak. Every area that we work has been blighted and slumped. This particular lot has been passed through several owners by tax deed. Nobody paid taxes. Nobody maintained it. We spent more on clearing the lot than we did on actually purchasing the lot. We found hundreds of tires and other garbage. So these neighbors had ample opportunity to purchase the land themselves and keep it the way it is. They chose not to. And this has happened to us time and time again. All of a sudden someone else comes and does it. They don't like it. They didn't clean it. They didn't clean the garbage, or the blight, or anything else. So there's nothing that we can do that wouldn't be an enhancement to that neighborhood. What we build in that area, the goal is multifamily. It's a natural buffer to the commercial that it backs up to, directly to the west. You have China Tasty, that was a former internet gaming. You have the Express Loop. These are commercial things. You go to big cities, small cities, laid out, well-planned cities, anywhere. There's buffers, there's barriers, and this is exactly what we're fulfilling. Top of that, we're providing a need for housing. Okay? That's bottom line. Part of this came up at the planning and zoning meeting. Again, no one's come and spoke to me about this. I'd be happy to give anybody a tour. Most people know we've done. But we'll build what the city will allow us to build, period. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right.
Can I agree?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, one truck.
Oh, ER visitor?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Okay, all right, we're gonna close this to the public. All right, council, we're at what, ordinance number
1547.
1547, okay. What's the pleasure?
I'll make a motion for the first reading of ordinance 1547.
Is there a second? All right, since we failed to get a second,
Doesn't the motion have to be seconded, it has to be voted on? Isn't that a requirement by law? Didn't we go over this once before? That the nature of this, because it's a petition, thought that's what,
I think what happened in the past was when a motion died for lack of a second, then the requirement was that somebody had to make a motion for denial and state on what basis
Right.
that denial was. So if you look at the ordinance for this particular request,
You have the densities in front of you. And this is one of whatever they wanted to put on it, they'd have to come back and get approval for setbacks and all of that stuff. For
when
whatever.
we would, if we would process it in-house for, you know, like a site
Right,
plan.
not for the council, but the.
Yeah. So this is a request for residential moderate density, which is a little over 4 units per acre, to residential medium density, which is 8 dwelling units per acre. If you look on page 2 of the ordinance, there's 4 items listed that come straight out of our code. That are the basis for action to be taken, one way or another.
Where it stands now is the applicant, if you don't believe the applicant has met its burden, then you would, the council would need to say, and state on the record, why, what does this request violate under our current code?
I saw the property
mhm.
myself, and I think it's gonna cause a flood issue.
All right, now can we entertain a different type motion?
But you don't have a second, so you don't have anything on the floor right now.
Okay.
You have to have a motion to deny it with the specific grounds.
I make a motion to deny, ordinance number 1547, because I think it'll cause a flood issue.
so that's opinion, not factual.
Yeah, and so understanding, as I read in the opening, is that opinions are not generally perceived as competent, substantial evidence. And so, to your point, would be some sort of, engineer's not the right word, but someone qualified to determine the floodability of the property based on the potential uses, which we don't really know the potential uses now, other than what would be required under the code.
And wouldn't we have to show the 16 points of, point those out?
The specific ones they're relying on.
The 16 points pertain to the zoning change.
That's the next one.
The next one. A land use change is generally, what I understand, a legislative type action rather than quasi-judicial, if I'm not mistaken. And so it's, does it promote the public health, safety, morals, order, comfort, convenience, appearance, prosperity, or general welfare for the city? Is it deemed compatible with the objectives and policies found in the comprehensive plan, those kinds of language or stances.
So these
So,
duplexes,
you know, unless there's, like Mr. Kenneth said, unless there's competent evidence presented by somebody with an expertise in a specific matter that can shed light on particulars.
This is the cities things. It's 50 feet wide. It says it has to be 100 to do a triplex.
Right, so
On the street,
let me
so it
clarify.
doesn't fit.
The definition of multifamily can include a duplex or a triplex, but it also can include two separate houses on the same parcel, whereas single-family zoning allows one home per tax parcel of record. Multifamily zoning can allow two or more homes on a parcel of record. So it may not by code be wide enough to allow for a duplex, which is an attached wall structure with two sides, A and B, but the zoning would also allow for a house to be closer to the front of the property with a driveway, and then a driveway alongside that house with another house behind it.
But it's only 50 feet wide.
But they,
The whole lot.
right.
Where they put the driveway to the back house.
So, well, driveways don't have setbacks like structures do. And there is a house that they built one block north, I believe.
We can't have discussion now.
They did build a house on a very narrow lot, one block north.
One house.
Uh-huh.
Yep,
A
yep.
same size lot, one
Right.
house.
Right.
Not the same size lot, half the lot.
But you only have half that.
Oh, hey, hey,
Yeah, our rules don't allow for the public
Yeah,
to.
yeah. Okay, well, y'all shut that down quick. All right, so then we would extend.
This is your first reading, so obviously if additional evidence could be presented by the Woolseys or anyone else, if they can meet, competent substantial evidence, that a denial would be appropriate. But this is only the first bite at the apple, so to speak. There's going to be a second one, as we're aware, and so additional evidence can be presented by anyone at the final reading.
So then what we need to do here, what kind of,
Well, you need a motion and a second to approve, or a motion and a second to deny with the grounds that would be considered competent substantial evidence.
My first motion is keep it still going.
Well, Ms. Owen, she presented a motion to deny that based on the grounds she believes it'll flood. And Ms. Robertson, she seconded it. And that's where we're at, and I think the attorney said that's not competent.
Well, the
Did we
attorney
get a
really
second?
doesn't describe what's competent substantial. I can only give you the definition, and so then it would be up to the applicant. If they don't believe that was competent substantial evidence, they would then have whatever appropriate legal action to challenge the denial.
but my question is, did we get a second?
Yes.
I thought it died down.
The first one, the approval.
Okay.
The one
Okay.
to approve that.
Okay,
Listen to this, because I might be saying it wrong. Okay, for the first reading, I say no to the ordinance number 1547 because of they need to get some confidential evidence that proves it, that it won't flood them.
Well,
I don't know how to say it.
well, if it's competent substantial.
Okay,
All right. And so, on the first reading, if the competent substantial evidence is not presented, then probably approval would be appropriate. But again, if between now and the second reading, if they get competent substantial evidence, there will be further. That would be for the council to consider and whether they pass the final reading.
okay. So, I'm about lost myself.
So we have a motion and a second.
All right. All in favor say aye. Am I going?
If you're correct.
Okay.
This is for against, correct?
That's correct.
Against?
No.
So we'll do a roll call.
No.
For denial would be yes.
Robinson, denial.
Yes.
That's it, me now. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll go with a deny.
3-1.
All right, so it's been 3-1 vote.
If I'm not mistaken, the second part of that couldn't be voted on or
Because
heard
it would not be.
because it's contingent upon the first one. So we would go on to 1549.
1549. Ordinance number 1549, an ordinance of the City of Loudoun, Florida, amending the future land use classification to 1.29 acres more or less small scale of land on the future land use plan map of the City of Loudoun Comprehensive Plan pursuant to an application CPA 25-03 by the property owners and/or their authorized representative under the amendment procedures established in sections 163.3161 through 163.3215 Florida statutes as amended, and Article 3 of the Land Development Regulations of the City of Loudoun, Florida, providing for a change in the assigned future land use classification from industrial to commercial on certain lands within the corporate limits of the City of Loudoun, Florida, providing for severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, providing authority and an effective date.
All right, public, let me hear from you.
We'll let Mr.
Mr. Curtis.
George Curtis, Development Manager. Yes, sir. Mr. President, Council. So this is part one of a two-part application for the future land use. The acreage that is being requested for this is not all the acreage that these parcels contain. There's actually 3 parcels of record that are now being assembled under a single owner, and they're right at the corner of Palm Street and Ohio. One of the parcels on the south side has the old car wash. It's like self-service car wash where you drive up and use it. The corner property is vacant, and then towards down Palm Street on the backside, you have like an old industrial warehouse type building.
Right.
And so because of the historic use of 129 being commercial, but then historically, as you got off the beaten path a little bit, you got into industrial uses, like the Bayliner boat plant when it was there, and the cement plant that's back there. There was a corridor drawn, and so it split a couple of these parcels, and they're about half commercial and half industrial. But the developer that is assembling these needs like a clean slate of all one type of land use and zoning in order to do a development, because each zoning and land use has its own kind of standards, and you can't like build a building halfway to one standard and then have to change the rest of it to a new standard. You know, it gets really complicated to do that. So the request to change the industrial is just to clean up those parts of the parcels that have commercial already, to move that commercial all the way to the property line, if that makes sense. So it enables them to move forward with a commercial development that'll benefit that area. It's in the CRA district, so it helps the TIF revenue for the CRA, and it takes a blighted industrial building and basically an older car wash facility that it probably is losing popularity because of all the new car washes, and it takes a vacant corner property that's sat there for decades and hasn't done a whole lot, and it makes it possible for them to really do something super duper for that area. So planning board did hear it, recommended approval. They did, as applicants and their representative, North Florida Professional Services included a very comprehensive analysis and stance in their packet to support their request. So they met all the statutory criteria, all the evidence that needed to be presented, they did present as part of the request. And so we recommend approval of the land use for this ordinance, and then we'll talk about the zoning after this one.
All right. Now open to the public. Any public comments? All right, now, it's closed to the public now. Board members, what's your, I need a motion and a second on the first reading of ordinance.
Make a motion of ordinance 1549.
Second.
All right, it's been properly moved in second, that we approve ordinance 1549. All in favor say aye. Opposers, same sign. Okay, what's next? We got you.
Ordinance number 1550, an ordinance of the city of Live Oak, Florida, amending the zoning district to 1.29 acres more or less of land on the official zoning atlas of the city of Live Oak land development regulations pursuant to an application LDR 2507 by the property owners and/or their authorized representative under the amendment procedures established in Article 3 of the land development regulations, providing for a change in the assigned zoning district from industrial 1 to commercial intensive C1 on certain lands within the corporate limits of the city of Live Oak, Florida, providing for severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, providing authority and an effective date.
All right, now, once again, still open to the public now.
Mr.
Mr. Curtis.
Just the
Thank you, Mr. Jefferson and council. George Curtis, Development Manager. This is part 2 of the CART application to change the zoning on the same area that we just discussed. This has industrial zoning, which is abbreviated with the letter I, to commercial intensive zoning, which is what's found on the remaining part of the property. That's abbreviated with C-I for the record. And planning board and staff are recommending approval on this based on the future development of the property, as well as all the criteria that the applicant submitted for competent evidence.